happy and cheerful morning to all my dear students. I hope you all are fine at home and taking care of your health. So we are back with a general knowledge class. But before that, tell me, how many of you have a reading habit? आप में से कितने लोगों को books read करने की habit है? Now I'm not talking about the school books only, but the story books, the comic books, so many things, isn't it? So today we will be studying and discussing about the greatest and the greatest children's book of all times. That means जो famous story books रही हैं of all times, जो आज तक भी famous हैं, that we are going to study. But before that, students, I hope you all also have a habit of studying or reading the story books. This is very important, children, to create a habit of reading. Why? इससे हमारी vocabulary बढ़ती है, हमारी vocabulary improve होती है, concentration बढ़ता है, and also we learn new words. What does that mean when I say that my vocabulary develops? It means कि हम जैसे books read करते हैं, हम new words सुनते हैं, है ना? और जब वो new words देखते हैं, तो हमें ऐसा होता है, we feel curious कि इसका meaning क्या है, and हम फिर उसके meanings find करने की कोशिश करते हैं. So children, it is very important that you also read these story books. And जब आप books read करते हो, तो आप बहुत बोर हो जाओ जब स्कूल की बुक्स पढ़ के, तो यू फील इंटरेस्टिंग, है ना? आपको मज़ा आती है बाय लुकिंग एट द पिक्चर्स, द कैरेक्टर्स, कार्टून्स, वो देख के अच्छा लगता है ना हमें. सो यू ऑल शुड हैव द हैबिट ऑफ रीडिंग दिस बुक्स. नाउ वी विल डिस्कस सम ऑफ द फेमस स्टोरी बुक्स एंड द बुक्स ऑफ ऑल टाइम्स. ऑल टाइम मीन्स कि वो काफ़ी सालों से फेमस है. That is आपके टाइम में भी और इवन मेरे टाइम में जब मैं आपके जितनी थी. ओके, सो लेट अस बिगिन.
Greatest children's books of all times. Morris Cinder, Where the Wild Things Are.
So the first one is Where the Wild Things Are by Morris Cinder. Now, I will give you the summary of all the story books, of all these books which we are going to discuss. Okay? मैं आपको पूरा डिटेल में तो नहीं बता सकती. That you have to do. So, I'll give you a quick summary of it. See. So, इसकी storyline क्या थी? Feeling misunderstood at home and at school, mischievous Max. Now Max is the main child in this storybook. Escapes to the land of the wild things. Land of the wild things means the forest and the wild animals. And sometimes fierce creatures. They allow Max to become their leader, and he promises to create a kingdom where everyone will be happy. So this is, in short, I have told you that there is a boy named Max and he was very lonely and उसके ज़्यादा friends नहीं थे. So what happens? He escapes. वो गायब हो जाता है to the wild things. That is the wild place, the forest and the wild animals. Then what happens? These wild animals make him their leader. But still he was not happy. Now why was he not happy? What happened there? That you have to read it on your own. Okay? The next one.
Shel Silverstein, The Giving Tree.
So the second one is The Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein. Now she's a very renowned writer and author of all time. Okay, even I have read these books, read books of him. Now I will show you the quick summary. See, The book follows the lives of an apple tree and a boy who develops a relationship with one another. The tree is very giving and the boy evolves into a taking teenager. So what is there? That it is the story of an apple tree and a boy. So they are friends. ठीक है, apple tree और वो boy जो है वो friends हैं. And the apple tree keeps on giving the little boy. And उस boy को habit हो जाती है किसकी? सिर्फ only taking. Now what happens? So he evolves into a teenager. Teenager means slowly वो from a little boy he grows up to a teenager. A middle-aged man and finally an elderly man. Okay? So apple tree और उस boy की friendship कितने सालों तक चलती है? From being a little boy till being a very old and a elderly aged man. Despite the fact that the boy ages in the story, the tree addresses the boy as boy in his entire life. So, this is the story about the friendship of an apple tree and a boy. Okay? Now continue.
A. Milne, Winnie the Pooh.
So the next one is Winnie the Pooh by A. Milne. So it is a very famous storybook and we also know that there are cartoons also. Okay, Winnie the Pooh के cartoon भी आते थे during our time. I have seen it and it is one of my favorite storybook also. So what is it about? Let's see. It is the first volume of the stories about Winnie the Pooh. So there are many series of it. Now what is it? Written by A. Milne. The book focuses on the adventures of a teddy bear named Winnie the Pooh and his friends Piglet, a small toy pig. So this storybook is basically about a teddy bear, as you saw in the picture. That is, he is Winnie the Pooh and his friend is Piglet. And there are many more friends of him. So he goes to different places and his adventures. This is what the storybook is about. I recommend you all to read this book. It is very interesting and you'll have a great time reading it.
Rudyard Kipling, The Jungle Book.
So this one is The Jungle Book by Rudyard Kipling. It is one of the most famous storybooks of all time. That is, even you must be reading this book today. Even I have read and even my mother has read. So ये बहुत पुरानी book है and इसकी stories जो है that I'll tell you in the detail or in a short form I'll tell you. It is about a little boy named Mowgli. Okay, I'm sure many of you might have seen the film, The Jungle Book. So what is it about? Raised by a family of wolves since birth, Mowgli must leave the only home he's ever known where the fearsome tiger Sher Khan unleashes his mighty roar. So this is a story about a little boy who was raised in the forest, जो छोटे से बड़ा हुआ है एक फॉरेस्ट में एंड वाइल्ड एनिमल्स के साथ. ओके, जो एनिमल्स को देख के हमें भी डर लगे, जिसके साथ हम रह ही नहीं सकते. बट दिस बॉय मोगली, ही वॉज रेस्ड बिटवीन द वाइल्ड एनिमल्स एंड दे लव्ड हिम एंड दे ट्रीटेड हिम लाइक अ family. But then there is a villain and that is the tiger named Sher Khan. Now what happened after that? You have to read the book for that, or you can even watch the film to find out.
Lewis Carroll
So the next one is Alice in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. Now what is it about? I'll show you. See, Alice Adventures in Wonderland, okay, is an 1865 novel by English author Lewis Carroll. Okay, so it is a very ancient one. It was made in the year 1865. So ये जो स्टोरी बुक है ये एक नॉवल के बेसिस पे बनी है which was made in 1865. It tells of a young girl named Alice who falls through a rabbit hole into a fantasy world. Okay, so it is a story about a girl that is, see, she's Alice and she falls into a rabbit hole and then she enters a fantasy world. Okay, एक magical world में वो enter करती है and then it is the story. Then it continues and she makes new friends and how she explores. So this is also a very famous book and it is been read by everyone and it is one of the most ancient storybooks of all time.
Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, The Little Prince.
So the last one is The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. Okay, so as the name of the author is a little complicated, but it is a simple story about a little prince and a pilot. Now I'll tell you in short. A pilot stranded in the desert meets a little boy who is a prince on a planet. Okay, so a pilot, he gets stranded on a desert. Okay, वो desert में फंस जाता है अकेले and वो एक अलग planet में जाके गिरता है. So that planet, there is a little prince. Okay, based on the story by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. This magical musical fable begins as a pilot makes a forced landing on the barren Sahara desert. So ये स्टोरी की शुरुआत कैसे होती है? ऐसे होती है कि एक पायलट जो है वो एक फोर्स लैंडिंग उसको करनी पड़ती है to the Sahara desert and then the story continues. So all these were the books and I've told you the summary in short. Okay, summary तो short में ही होती है but उसके बारे में आप डिटेल में जानना चाहते हो. What is the story about? What are the characters? For that you have to read the book, isn't it? You can get these books easily in the market or even you can Google it and read the books online. Okay, and if you have Kindle, it will be more easier to read. Okay, so there is an assignment which I want to give it to you for general knowledge. That is, out of all these books, you have to read any one storybook and what you have to do, you have to give a short summary of it. आपको short में story बतानी है, आपको characters बताने हैं and उसकी video मुझे भेजनी है. Okay? So, I will tell you on which day you have to submit it. Okay? Quickly, I'll tell you the quiz time.
Quiz time.
So, take the answers. Okay?
Take the correct answers.
So, who is the author of the book A Wizard of Earthsea? So, the option A, Ursula K. Le Guin. Which book has been written by C.S. Lewis? It is The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. Option B. So, this is it for now. We'll stop and we'll meet in the next class. God bless you all. Goodbye.